Hello friends, welcome to episode 3 of Project 39. Joining us today is Dan Dattilo. Dan's a lifelong resident of Madison, and he's currently serving in his second term on the city council. Dan joins the podcast to discuss what's going on in Madison, and we also get into some of the actions the council's taken to address some of the city's problems. Dan also shares what inspired him to get involved in local government, and he talks about the circumstances around his brief tenure as mayor. Just a quick note to listeners, we experienced some technical difficulties about 7 minutes into our conversation, so I had to piece this together a little bit. That's what's going on if it sounds a little odd. Just stick with us though, we think you'll enjoy it. Thank you. Dan Dattilo, welcome to Project 39. How you doing?
I'm doing really good. Thank you, Brian, for having me.
I appreciate you taking the time. Invite me into your home. This is the first time we've recorded an episode remotely, so that's good. I appreciate it.
Happy to do it.
So let's get started. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I'm Dan Dattilo. I'm actually from right here in Madison, outside of college. I've lived all my life here. Grew up actually half a mile from where I currently live. Married to my wife, Shannon. Have 3 kids from 17 to 9. They are active and about and keeping me busy all the time. And I live currently in the Sunrise neighborhood on Madison's Hilltop in District 4. That's not the district it is the district I represent because I represent the entire city because I'm an at-large candidate.
Okay. All right. You mentioned, other than college, you lived your entire life in Madison. Where did you go to college?
Sure. So my undergraduate, I went to Marion. Now it's university, but I'm so old when I went there originally, it was just a college.
Marion College?
Marion College in Indianapolis. Graduated back in 92. Went through a music program, did some business with them as well. Went back to school at IUS, got my certificate for teaching special education, and then got a master's in secondary education. And then because I never knew what I really wanted to do, Brian, I have a master's in counseling as well. So wow. A lot of education through those 2 masters through Indiana University Southeast.
Okay. All right. And so what have you done with those all those degrees?
Okay. So for a while, I worked at the state hospital with adolescent unit when it was there in the education department with some really great people. Then I was offered a job with Southwestern through special services, and I was a special education teacher there. And now I'm the middle and high school guidance counselor for Southwestern, and been doing that for, 14 years now, I guess. Wow. Total of about 27 years in education total.
Okay. All right. So this would probably be a good time. In the interest of transparency, I should mention I have another connection with Dan other than just being a friend.
You do?
Yeah. He's part of the family. I've been married to his sister for almost 34 years.
Wow.
I know. Yeah, our anniversary is Sunday. So
wow. Well, yeah, happy anniversary ahead of time.
So yeah, thanks. So okay, so you are a city council member in the city of Madison, right?
I am.
Okay. So what? Well, first let's start. So what's the city council do?
So we do several things. The first thing we do, and this is getting ready to come up here in Madison and Jefferson County, is we are the persons that help set budgets. So we allocate money, and then the mayor spends that money in the areas that we've talked about. If he wants to make changes in it, he has to come back to council to get approval for that.
Okay. The
other thing we do are ordinances and bills, laws, the things that we help set up and to maintain the city. We all sit on different committees that help run the different aspects of the city. And, I guess I kind of liken it to a national scenario where, House, Senate, and the president. Mm-hmm. And I know it's not exactly like that, right. But council's a little bit like the co-part to the mayor in that we help run the city and make sure it does what it needs to do.
Okay. All right. And how many council members are there?
So there are 7 council members. There are 5 districts inside of Madison city limits. There's also 2 at-large members, and those at-large members serve the entire city. So all of the other districts.
Okay. So election time, council members run in their district and are voted. The people in that district vote in that race.
Correct.
But the at-large members, you run.
We
across
run
the
in
entire
every
city.
district.
Okay.
Yeah. So every place that anyone votes, the at-large candidates, their names will appear.
Okay. All right.
So, and there are 2 of those seats.
Okay.
So, like last election, 4 people ran, 2 of us were elected into it.
Okay. Who's the other one? Who's the other?
The other one that's
at
at large is Jim Bartlett. Do you want me to go through the other members?
Sure, that'd be great.
Okay. So from District 1, which is downtown, that's Patrick Tevenall. This is his first term. Amanda Creech represents 2, which is mostly on the Hill, but it also has a little bit of the north side of downtown. In 3, which is the west side of downtown, is Lucy Dattilo. Katie Rampy is District 4, which is kind of where I live over the Sunrise area. Mm-hmm. She's also the council president. And then 5, which is on the opposite side of the hilltop. Gosh, I'm not explaining that very well. Over Big Lots area, that that side of town, west side of town. That's Curtis Chapman, and this is his first time around as well. And then Jim Bartlett and I are the at-large candidates.
Okay. And how long are the terms once you're elected?
Terms are 4 years.
4 years.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been?
Okay, this is my second term, so I've been in about 6 years. Not quite 6 years, I guess. So a little while.
Okay. And are there term limits?
There are not term limits on city councilmen, and many city councilmen have served many terms consecutively.
Okay. So you mentioned that there's some other committees inside of the city council. So what are some of those, and what do they? Which ones are you on?
Well, I'm on finance committee, which has a couple of specific jobs. One of them is that we certify any tax abatements that have been handed out, making sure that local businesses are meeting their requirements for those tax abatements. That's just one aspect of it, but that's the finance committee. The other one I'm on is the education committee. But we have people who serve in the law enforcement areas that help serve with that. I'm trying to think of all of them off the top of my head.
Health and safety.
Health and safety,
like
yes.
That, yeah.
There's traffic committee, which is a popular one.
So, Dan, what made you want to run for office?
Oh gosh, this could be a long-winded question.
Well,
so
we've got plenty of time.
Great. So when I was really young, and I'm talking maybe 5, 6, 7, I remember my mom ran for office. She actually ran for a county position.
Right.
And she did not get that county position. However, I remember going to different events in party headquarters and, going around and talking to people. And I always liked that. And I kind of put that aside for a lot of years. And then after college, I started getting interested in politics again. National politics is what I used to watch a lot of, and I still watch a little bit of it in various places. But I had a couple of friends who were elected officials in town, and really it came down to just a discussion. I said, someday I want to do that. And they're like, well, why wait for someday? Go ahead. Yeah. So the first time I ran for city council at large, and I lost.
Oh, yeah.
And I lost by, I don't remember. I'm going to say 94 votes, but it was under 100.
Okay.
And I thought, wow, I really,
that was close.
I really thought I could do this.
Yeah.
And so I was encouraged to run again by some people locally, and I ran again, and I actually got in. And I did a lot of work for that one. I mean, I did a lot of door-to-door, a lot of talking to people. I had some really great local people that were giving me advice, and good advice, luckily. And I was lucky enough to get in, and I got in with a great group of guys and gals that made it fulfilling, rewarding. I feel like we did a lot.
Okay.
And so, I could look at paper and I could say, oh, gosh, I helped with that.
Okay.
And so it became, even though it's a lot of work, and I don't think people realize how much time and effort it takes, it is, there's a reward in it that is, I'm helping out a little in some way. Yeah. So I love it. And I was really lucky to get a second term and happy to be here.
That's good, and you can tell talking to you that you do get excited about it. You can tell
I
that you
do.
Yeah, that's great though. And also, well, that we should also mention that you do have the distinction of having the shortest term as mayor of Madison, right? Yeah.
I do, in really horrible and sad circumstances. When Mayor Welch passed, I happened to be the council president at that time, and so I took over duties until the local party was able to caucus someone in. It was about 3 weeks, and I had so much help and so many good people that were already working in the offices that it went really well.
Yeah,
something I'm proud of as well is that I could step in and help a little bit. And my other job was fantastic. And
I remember when that happened. And
they said, you know what, you can step away and help out what you need to. And I did so, and it was an honor.
Yeah, that's good. It was, like you say, it was unexpected, and the circumstances were less than ideal.
Right.
That came about. But no, it was great that you got the chance to step up and do that for a while.
Thank you.
So now that you're in your second term, you got a feel for what you're doing. What are some of the big issues in Madison today? What's going on with this?
Well, I think everybody might have a different idea on this.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, money and budget and putting it in the right place is always on my mind. But I'd say we have some bigger issues as well in I feel like the epidemic of drug abuse is hit every place, and it's hit Madison as well. Yeah. And, we don't have a ton of persons that can help out someone who's really in need of help for drug addiction.
Right.
And that's something that's a huge issue for Madison.
And it's not unique to Madison, unfortunately.
It's not unique to Madison, but I feel like we do have maybe less resources than other communities. And, we are close. We're close to Louisville, and we're close to Cincinnati and to Indianapolis. But getting someone who really needs the help and treatment there can be difficult. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and that's a good one.
I think that leads to everything else, Brian. I really do.
I'm sorry?
I think it kind of leads to everything else. It leads to our homelessness situation.
And that's what I was going to say. I mean, I've never grew up in the city, but out in the county, but, I don't remember ever seeing homeless people around Madison, and now it's become a common sight, both, downtown and on the hilltop.
Yeah.
It's sad, and I don't know what the answer is, but we don't have, I don't know, it seems like resources that we had 20 years ago aren't there. Particularly the state hospitals.
Right.
And mental issues.
There was a drug and alcohol addiction treatment facility at the state hospital, but in Indiana, we've really limited those resources. I think, and I said this earlier, that it leads to so many things, the drug addiction issues, but I think our theft issues are there. And if we have some violent crimes, and we've had some in the last 5, 6, 7 years, I think that has probably a lot to do with drug addiction and issues with that. I think if we could figure out a way to better handle just that, and we are coming up with some ways. I should say there are things happening in the background and through the city and the county. The new jail is one of the things that we're doing is having a required drug treatment program in that jail. Okay. So that's going to help. I just don't want people to have to go to jail to get drug treatment.
Right. Yeah.
It should be available to us in a better way, more easily accessible. Yeah. And so that's something that several people have talked about and worked on as well.
Okay. Well, you're right. That's a big issue that leads to a lot of other problems that we have too. So, and it's good to hear that there's at least some effort being made to fix some of that. So, I guess that's the bad issues. Any good issues going on? Anything good happening in Madison?
Well, there's some bad issues, and that there's no homes for sale, so the price of homes has skyrocketed. Yeah, but I think that's true everywhere. Yeah. When you have really low interest rates and people that want to buy homes, and there's not any stock, that's probably an issue. Right. But it's a good issue to have, I guess. There are no empty manufacturing or large buildings. Everything has been either redone or in the process of being redone. So, gosh, you could think of tons of those. The Armor Plastics Group over across from Arby's on the Hilltop is a great example. downtown they just had the ribbon cutting for what used to be the tack factory, and now it's a place for people to live. I think it's 50 and older. It's beautiful. If you haven't had a chance to see it, you should.
I saw some pictures in the paper the other day.
They've really done an amazing job. And now with the Fairfield Inn on the riverfront, I mean, there's another example of the kind of progress that's being made, and through the efforts of many, many people. But if you want to have a manufacturing or a large building for something in Madison, you're going to have to build it now because we've used them all.
It's a good problem to have.
It's another great problem to have.
So I did see something recently. The city's acquired the Rulers building downtown.
Yes.
I know that was a big deal when that closed. It seems odd sometimes for me to think about, just access to food, but then, you got this population downtown, a lot of elderly folks, older folks, who have trouble getting out and about, and now there's nowhere to get groceries. And I mean, it just sounds like such a bit of a first world problem, maybe, but it is a real issue.
It's an issue for a lot of people who live in downtown.
Yeah.
And some people just don't drive, and you really can't. I mean, you could do the dollar store downtown, but there's some things
limited.
that you're not going to be able to get there that you need.
Fresh fruit and vegetables.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the idea behind this is that we take a building that's kind of ideal, that does need work. We put some money into that and fix it up and make it so that a company that comes in may be more enticed by a building that's in great shape and has some space around it that looks appealing, rather than just keep waiting, because we've waited and we've talked to people and we've hired people to seek, companies that might be interested in coming here. We feel like we have to take the next step to get someone in downtown that's really going to help us.
Okay. Well, and sometimes you gotta prime that pump.
Yeah.
At least from a manufacturing perspective, I've seen places that they're successful when they go out and, successful in attracting new industry, new business when they first go out and secure rights to property,
right,
or make those road improvements before the business comes to town. Instead of waiting until when they come, then we'll build it. It's kind of that Field of Dreams thing.
Right.
Let's build it first, then they'll come. So.
And it's a little. I'm not going to lie when I say it's a little bit risky. It is a little bit risky, but the other option is to do nothing.
The other option hasn't really worked,
and it hasn't worked. So, it was a hard one for me to swallow for a while, and it really wasn't up to me. I mean, that's up to the Redevelopment Commission and the mayor and such, but it's hard for me to say, oh, we need to buy a building, fix it up to entice other people to come here. But at the same time, everything else we've done has not been successful. So we have to keep trying whatever we can.
Okay. Yeah, and you mentioned the new Fairfield Inn coming in downtown.
Yeah.
Looks like a fantastic facility, and I think that's going to be a real benefit to the city of Madison once it's open and attracting people, and more than just tourism, but maybe get some business travel to the industry or to the area,
sure,
conventions and things like that. So I think that's going to be a boon to the area down there.
To me, Brian, it's nothing but a benefit. I mean, even if it just brought in tourists, fantastic. However, there's opportunities there to have some kind of mid to small size conventions, and I think that's going to add, it's going to add more people to all the restaurants and small boutique type shops. I think it's good. To me, there's no negative there. I've read some negative stuff online. I try not to.
Right.
But to me, there's very little negative to this whole project.
It's hard to see a downside, that's for sure. So you mentioned you serve on the finance committee, and part of the council's job is to allocate budget to different areas. I did see recently where the county, as part of this latest COVID stimulus, I can't remember what it was called, American Rescue, something like that. Anyway, I saw where the county's getting a sum of money. Can't remember the exact amount. Is the city positioned to receive any funds from that?
They will receive funds for this. I don't want to say an amount because I don't know the exact amount off the top of my head.
Dan.
Well, I could lie and give you an amount, but that won't just do any good. I'm sure it'll be in local media very shortly if it's not been there already. I've heard a number, but just for the life of me, I can't think what it is currently. It is significant.
Okay.
And I think that amount of money will be used to do some of the projects we've pushed back in order to do kind of more top priority projects.
So are there strings attached?
There are some strings attached.
Limitations, constraints on what you can do with it? Is it a loan, or is it got to be paid back?
I don't believe it's a loan,
okay.
But there are strings attached as to how you can allocate the money.
Okay.
So you can't just randomly. I want to build a soccer arena or something. Mm-hmm. There are absolutely. I'm trying to think of the phrase I want to say here. There are. I'm trying to think of how to even say it, Brian. I'm sorry, it just left
right.
me. But, I don't want to say strings attached again. But
there are.
Some.
So is it supposed to be to make up shortcomings from that were COVID related? I mean, tax revenue's got to be down, right? Business fuel tax has definitely got to be down. People aren't driving back and forth to work. Right. People aren't traveling or haven't traveled for much. So there's got to be some local hits to the budget.
Well, there have
so
been.
Is it to replace that?
I think some of it will be for that.
Can the city just use it for their typical operating budget?
I think they can use
picking up trash and
here's how I'm imagining. Like I said, I haven't seen this.
Okay. I know I'm putting you on the spot. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I haven't seen it in writing. My guess is, and there's money's coming to schools as well. So I have seen kind of what the requirements are for that.
Directly to the schools?
They'll come directly to school corporations, and they have to use it in certain areas.
Okay.
And so I've seen that information written out. I've not seen the city's information written out as far as how they can allocate the monies. But I know there will be some requirements. And the city, I think, will probably use it to, like I say, do some of those projects that we put in the back.
Okay.
Because other ones have moved up to the top and are more necessary, as long as they meet the requirements of the money's spending requirements.
Okay. Is there any time frame on when those funds will be received?
There is.
You don't know what it is?
I don't know what it is either.
That's okay.
And actually, they may have already received it, but I don't know the timeline on that.
Okay. All right.
But
that's fair.
I could find out for you if you really needed it at a later date.
Good. No, that's fine. Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, it's okay. I just, this is an important part of what I do, but I also have this other job, and
right.
I have a lot of money and figures and ideas floating around in my head from that. So, the other information was not important for me to know right this moment.
Right.
So I didn't learn it.
Okay. No, you get a pass.
I get a pass. Thanks.
So we talked a little bit about economic development,
mm-hmm.
and that's something no one's ever totally satisfied with, right? What's the city council's role? What do you see as an impediment to bringing more jobs to the area?
Sure.
Any thoughts on that?
So economic development in Madison we have an economic development director.
Okay.
And he currently just put in his resignation because he is looking into another job that, I think something he's been interested in for a while. It's still in the economic field, but not as a director for a city or anything.
Okay.
So we'll be getting a new one shortly. So that person kind of finds leads for us for economic development. And if money or grant things need to be done, then of course that comes before the city council, and we either approve it or say that's not a good idea. So we have a director of economic development that kind of leads us to find new business and new opportunities.
Okay. And you said that person's stepping down, though? Is there
he
plan to
is
replace?
just now stepping down. I don't know when his last day is, but it's shortly. And I know that position's already been posted. I'm sure we'll find another person that's qualified and will do a great job for us. Matt Worth is who that is, and he's done a great job for us.
Okay. All right. The council meets regularly, I'm assuming?
They do.
What's your schedule?
So I think of it as easy, and some people get a little upset for a couple. So we meet the first and third Tuesday of every month.
Okay.
Unless
Uh-oh.
the first Tuesday is the first day of the month, and then we push it back a week.
Okay.
So that's where the confusion sometimes happens. But we do post on our website, on on local media when our meetings are going to be. So keep an eye out for that. But generally, you can bet it's the first and third Tuesday of each month.
Okay. And it's strictly the city council meets
Yes.
at that one? That there are no other city government groups meeting at that time?
No other city government groups meet, but some may come and do reports for us or let
Okay.
us know of information that's going on. A lot of times department heads will come and tell us what's going on in their department so that we're kept, abreast of information. A lot of times we'll get monies and budget information at those times. And then at city council meetings, the community gets an opportunity to speak.
Okay.
And just tell us what their thoughts are or their ideas about an ordinance.
So if someone has something to say, do they need to arrange it ahead of time? They need to get on the schedule?
They
on the
don't need to
agenda,
do that.
Just
So
show up and speak?
you can show up, and there is a place that's for public comment, and you can stand up. You just need to state your name and your address, and then whatever your concern or statement is.
Okay.
So it's and you know what? A lot of times that's some of the most informative information for council.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of times we don't know what's happening in a certain area or what a problem is, and we can be alerted to it.
Okay.
So we love, I love that. I'm assuming the other council members do as well.
Most of the time, I'm sure. Yeah.
Well, most of the time, right?
Okay. How someone, a resident of Madison, they want to get in touch with their council member or just the council in general, what's the best way to reach you guys?
So if you look at the City of Madison government webpage, it's brand new, and I think it's really a nice page now. We're still working on it, but it has beautiful pictures, and I think the information is really crystal clear and easy to grab. You can go to that webpage. You can click on the City Council webpage. You can find all of our information, our phone numbers. My phone number's out there, my cell phone number. If they want to call me, there's an email address attached too, because we have our city email.
Okay.
And they can write us emails and have questions or concerns. We're happy to help with that. Just this week, I was downtown. There's an issue with an alley that I've been working with several businesses on, and I got a call on my cell phone. I didn't recognize the number. It turned out to be a business owner downtown, and I've been talking with them for several days about it. So, so they may have to leave a message because sometimes that happens.
Right.
But for the most part, I'm going to get back to you fairly quickly.
Okay. Does the city council maintain any social media accounts?
No, the city does. The city has a Facebook and I think a Twitter account. I don't tweet, so I don't know much about that.
Right.
But I know they have a Facebook account, and I monitor that, and they put information out all the time on it. They Facebook Live our council meetings and other meetings, so you can watch them there if you want to. Other than the Facebook page, the council itself doesn't have a separate entity by itself that you can go and peruse.
Okay.
Now, some of us do have like I have a Dan Dattilo City Council large Facebook page you can go look at. And I put a lot of information. No, I shouldn't say a lot. I put information on there periodically.
Maybe you'll put more
about
on
the
there
city.
now.
I should be putting more on there.
Okay. Well, I'll find links to all that, and
Great.
I'll include in the show notes, so it'll be there if anybody needs it or wants it.
Fantastic.
And I appreciate that. So before we wrap up, is there anything that you were hoping that we would cover that I didn't get to? Anything you want to touch on?
I just want to make sure that people know that the government is supposed to be running for them. City government is supposed to be what you want. And so it's really important that they keep track of what's happening, and they let their leaders know what's happening. And I mean leaders as in, I know that Mayor Courtney would be happy to hear from you, or either through email or phone call. I know other council members would be happy to hear from you. Don't be afraid to contact us. This is what we do. Just do be patient, because we, sometimes it does take us a day or so.
It's a part-time job, right?
It's a part-time job.
Yeah.
So all of us on council work another full-time job.
Okay.
And so just be patient with us, but do get a hold of us. Do let us know what you think, so that, we can be guided in a way that's best for the city. So make sure you do let us know.
Okay. Thanks.
That's right.
No, I appreciate that. I think it's obvious in listening to you talk that this is something that you care strongly about, and hopefully people will be involved and voice their opinion and be active and have a say. And
Sure.
hopefully this will give them some information that might help with that. So,
I hope so too, Brian.
okay. Well, that's really all I had for you, Dan. And I appreciate your time. Take care.